So I write to get to know my characters, and that's because I don't know them, because I'm making them up on the spot.
Mhm, mhm.
Because I am a pantser. And so welcome back to the Knit Ritz podcast. I'm Allie.
And I'm Sam. Today's theme is going to be writing process, really kind of talking about the difference between the pantser versus the plotter. So the person who like writes kind of by the seat of their pants, doesn't plot out anything, kind of writes on vibes and just spur of the moment versus the person who plots things out, right? The timelines, the outlines, the all the things. So that
Yeah.
is the theme for today, but I think we're going to start with our reading check-in and our writing check-in, and then we'll jump into the theme of writing process.
Okay, so what did you read this week?
Not a fucking thing.
Okay.
Not a
That's
not a single word on a page of a book. But I purchased 3 books.
Oh, good. That's the same as reading, which is
3 books
great.
that I've already read. So I have decided that this week is all about DIY home decor
You
week.
have ADHD.
Uh-huh.
You have a hyperfixation.
Yes. So I got used bookshelves, matching used bookshelves, and I got
Cute.
that ottoman, and I have painted and cleaned up and painted the bookshelves and painted the ottoman, and then I was going to be done, and then I came into this room and decided that it needed to be cleaned out, which also meant that I needed to paint stuff.
Mhm. That's
So
what you were
I
working on yesterday, huh?
and today. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I did the bookshelves yesterday. I did the ottoman today. And then I came in here to move some stuff around. I put a new rug in. Well, I put the old rug from the living room in here. And then
Nice.
I painted the desk and the chair. And I took all of my books down.
Dang.
I will send you pictures, but yes, in 3 days I have painted 5 pieces of furniture.
Oh my god.
I have a whole new living room.
Nice.
And this room is in the works. That's why it looks so very unput
It doesn't.
together, because I'm unputting it together so I can re-put it together. But so I'm in the middle of, called Children of Fallen Gods is the second book. It's called
Okay.
the War of Lost Hearts series. But yeah, so I've read the first one, which is The Daughter of No World. Very good. Caught me right away. Pacing is like, wowzers, things are
All
moving.
her books are like that.
They just go. She hits the ground
Yeah.
running. Like, things are there, character intro.
We
She
should
got
talk
some,
about her structure when we're all done.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
got you like straight into like, here's the character, here's their bullshit, here's where they're at, people die, pew pew pew, she moves, this is that, over there, boom, love interest, and you're like, it's chapter 7.
Is that her first series, or is Crowns of Nyaxia?
I think this one is the first series, but I do not know for
I feel
sure.
like it is. I think it is too. Oh, because she's still writing. Well, maybe she's still writing both of them actually.
She's not. So this one is is a complete series. There is a
Okay.
novella that's coming out.
Oh, okay.
Um and my
Okay.
foot.
Yeah.
So this one
I'll
was
wait.
originally published in 2020, and the
Okay. Oh shit.
Serpent book
No, it's like 2023 or something. I feel like maybe
22 was
2022.
originally published. So she, at least the first one came out earlier for the Daughter of No
Okay.
Worlds. Um so I'm halfway through the second one, and like
Nice.
it's at like one of those hard shifts. So a big thing has happened,
Yeah.
and now
Second
there's a
part.
big change, and
Mhm.
it was like 12 o'clock, and I was like, yeah, it's time for bed. And it was later than that, but whatever. And there's enough of like, I'm like I know that this is going to be a hard shift into kind of a new, like the second half of the book, the whole things.
Mhm.
And so I just haven't got myself back into it because I'm like, right, like this
Yeah,
is
because you're
it's
like
gonna take
mentally
its
preparing for a big thing.
yes.
Yeah.
And just to like I'm a little
To-
upset about the thing that happened.
Okay, I'm
And so
interested.
I don't know how I'm slightly less excited to get back into the book when I know that I'm not going to be in the presence of a character.
Yeah,
And
that is
so
interesting.
there's kind of like a parallel sort of story happening, and like the like big thing has happened, and now it's got to be like a hard shift with like both storylines, and I'm like, and so I just am a little like, am I am I ready to like
Yeah.
keep going with this? And so of course I paused and did some of my own like real world stuff so that my living room is pretty
Real
and my
world
office
building.
is my office is yeah, right. And
That's how
yeah,
I felt with the second Serpent's book, just like that. I was like, mm-mm,
I
not
I
ready for
I
this.
think it's her pacing though, right? Because like the first same thing. So the first book, it was like catch me, got me,
Hmm.
fast paced, things are going. And then the second book, I was like, okay, I'm here for it. Thank God
No,
that
I
I
didn't
didn't
even
have
open it. Like I did not because
to.
I was like, I waited like 3 weeks after I bought it to open it.
Mhm, mhm.
And I was like, and then I
It's
read
been
it
a
so fast.
it's been about a week and a half since I have read, and so I'm like, all right, just and like
Here we go. Yeah.
I've been just like kind of running around like a crazy human. So by the end of the night, I'm just like, I'm gonna doom scroll because I need the like
Hmm.
just the kind of cloudiness of all the things to kind of decompress because I'm like, I'm gonna be in it, and I
Yeah.
know I am, and I'm like, I don't have the energy to know that I'm gonna be up till midnight.
Yeah.
But I do really like her writing style. I think that her
Yeah.
use of repetition in both those books
Yes.
is
That's we are gonna have an episode on that.
beautiful.
Literally with her, just her.
And she has that same like repetition style in the second the Misha stuff. So the
I would say, based on what you're saying and like the vibes, I think Serpent really has it. Like,
she does this thing where she repeats things 3 times.
oh, 3 times.
She
I
does
was
it
just
in
thinking
three.
like the first and second book are like mirrors to each other.
Sure, but I meant like the
Yeah.
actual like the writing of it. She has things where she groups things in threes. So she'll say
Hmm.
something and then for emphasis there's like a repetition of three. And it happens like kind of
Hmm.
sporadically, but it happens in a way that makes you like you get the point of it, and so like the actual words on the page are
Okay.
repeated, and
Not like
there's
just the events.
and
Okay.
not yeah, and so it's not just like, I've read this over and over. We get it. It's your trauma. It's your bullshit. But like like even when she's kind of going through the like processing of things, and it comes back up, and she's talking about the like
Hmm.
her people or whatever. It doesn't feel. It feels like a natural way to process your shit, as opposed to it
Mm.
being like, well, you really need this character to be hung up on this for like the whole fucking book, huh?
Yeah, I know. That's like that idea that you just mentioned is kind of like a whole other topic I'd love to dive into too, because there's such a so like because on one hand, if you move on too quickly, it makes
Mhm.
your previous the scenes that cause that thing seem less important,
Yeah.
and it can undermine your entire thing. But if you drag it on too long, people get bored.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
or just depressed. You're like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
she this happened. This is
Yeah.
crazy. She should be very sad for like years, like
Yeah.
but like, and it's hard to work around that.
There's some times where they get hung up on stupid shit for too long.
Yeah, and you're like the
Like
writer needed a
Violet,
thing.
Miss Violet, can you stop your bitching in book 2?
Well, I actually
But yeah,
think that Fourth Wing
okay,
had problems with because there was like, earlier problems. They made those problems worse.
sure.
So and yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah. So anyways, not talking about those books. Here this is
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh, this is gonna be a 5 to 7 minute check-in." No, it's not. We're
No,
monsters.
no, no. I mean,
Um,
well, yeah, we'll see.
but yeah, I would love to. I think that when we've both read through those 2
Yes.
series, I think we could definitely map out the process of like
I want to do like the writer like what is it fucking called like the plotting thing where it's like this is the inciting
yeah.
incident, this is the like I because hers seem
Ooh.
you can just feel the structure in them. They're so but also nothing feels contrived or like it, and I think it's
Mhm.
because of the trials and whatever, but like
Yeah.
that's what makes the second Serpent book
So
interesting. And so anyway, yeah.
Do
So
you
what?
think that she's a plotter or a pantser?
I think she's probably a plotter or a
She seems like a
pantser
plotter.
who now, I think most people like no one's a pantser forever. Like you just
Yeah.
pants you like it's so funny that that word is such a funny it's such a funny word. But
Yeah.
anyway, you do the first draft like that, I think, and then you go in and you build in things and you organize
Yeah.
and you do things.
Yeah.
And I think there's a way you can often like the danger of that is that if you misorganize, like if
Yeah.
I'm writing scenes at the end of this book and like
Yeah.
this might not even be in this book. This could be its own thing. Like that's how my manuscript is right now. And so
Yeah.
like, but I could see it going bad in the organization second, like really
Mhm.
the end. Like I feel like my first draft is like getting everything I think is in the story out, and then the last like 20% or the last part of that draft is then putting it in like an order
Mhm.
because mine are
I
all over the place,
yeah.
and I think it'd be easy to fuck it up. So
I
I
think
feel like
it's
she's almost certainly a plotter, but maybe not.
well, and I also think it's kind of cool that like we're seeing this kind of continuity to I guess the story arc formation, and yet
Hmm.
those two stories feel so very different. There's some
Yeah, I haven't
similarities
finished
in
the
the
second one.
writing style because it's the same author, but they do not feel like I'm just reading a recreation or I'm
Yeah.
reading a thing. It doesn't feel repetitive in the sense of like, wow, you just like rebranded your same characters.
Hmm.
So that's also nice that there's like kind of a continuity to this particular writer's style, which I'm assuming is a thing that happens. But again, I
Yeah.
don't like, I spent the last 12 years reading academic writing, so like a little
Yeah.
different.
It's interesting how it like kind of
But yeah,
yeah.
I think that could be a really fun exercise is to like sort of map out those character like
Hmm.
the not the character arc, but the plot, like, the traditional 3 act whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff.
That's what I was looking for.
What are you reading? You just finished
Oh yeah, that was your check-in for not having read anything, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just
Jesus.
kidding. No, I love it. I love it. We made a podcast because we do this.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I read
I
this
love that
book.
you have the actual book.
I have hard copy books. I have this one too. Um, okay, so you need to read this. You need to read
Do
this.
I?
You need to read this. Yes. Finish your book because I feel like it's
Mhm,
wrong to
mhm.
start a book in the middle of another book. I read this in 12 hours or with
Okay.
including sleeping, like 14
Yeah, yeah,
hours
yeah.
with sleeping. I slept for 8 hours in there. So I read this in like 6 hours. It's like 100
Oh,
I think it's
okay.
like
Yeah.
150 pages. It's nothing.
Got it. Could
Um
do it in 2
it's
nights.
really good. It's really good.
Okay. Okay.
I think there is something very interesting about this book. So this is Six Scorched Roses.
Yeah.
And it's the novella that is two characters from second Serpent
Technically
book.
takes place in between the two duologies, right? Or does it
Or like while no, I think it takes place during the events of the first Serpent
Okay.
book and then goes up until like the
Got
start
it.
of the
Okay.
second Serpent book. Yeah. Um
Cool.
and so you need to read that and
Yes, I do.
this yeah, it's good. No, I was like kind of surprised how much but I just read the whole thing
The
and I was
character's name is
awesome.
Lilith, right?
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for the name because of my thesis, but so
Oh, that's funny. I
I'm here for
almost
it.
was like we're doing like vampire stuff and we're just going with that name, but she isn't meant to be a side character, but then she's like
Mhm.
so in the main character I was like, like
Yeah.
part of me, I don't know, I'm very particular about names, like my own characters. I hate like doing like Katie but spelled weird, like
Yeah,
not to
yeah,
get
yeah.
very fantasy authors, which
Yeah.
sometimes they can be nice, but I'm just like I'm such a I have a bunch of blank names in my manuscript because I cannot decide on names.
I am so weird. I go on like feeling. So I'll be like, what is this
Yeah, same.
character? And I need a name that kind of means or resonates or feels like something. And then like there's a kingdom. It's like Fire
Mhm.
Islands Kingdom, which I haven't particularly named. They're just the Fire Islands for right now.
Mhm.
But like all of like the whole royal family has like fire inspired names because like
Mm.
not only is their island
And that's
fucking
like what
like
people would do,
yeah, exactly,
because
like their deity is this like firebird, right?
yeah,
And the islands are literally covered in like fucking fire and lava and they have this eternal flame, and so like
totally.
yeah, the king and queen, the king's name is Ignatius, like of course it is or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because like Yeah, or like, and then like the son's name is like Pyros or Pytho or whatever. And so
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like, well, yeah, of course it is. He's a fucking king of a fire island. Of course they're gonna name their kids after fire shit because it's
yeah.
presumptuous.
And I think that's
Um,
fine because it's like you have your explanation is that people did that intentionally,
yeah,
whereas actually the Lilith thing, because I don't even know Lilith really, but I just know it's like a cult. Isn't she in vamp? I don't know. Isn't she like a vampire in other
I
vampire
mean,
stories? Or no? Maybe I'm confused.
okay, so I'm gonna give it to you as quickly as I can because I can talk about Lilith all day
She's
long
like an
because
alternate Eve sometimes too, right?
yes. Okay, so historical Lilith. So the Lilith story first comes to us during the early Middle Ages in a story called The Alphabet of Ben Sirah, who's a Jewish author who took the two stories, the two creation myths that are in Genesis. Genesis 1 says that says that man and woman were created together during that 6-day situation,
Hmm.
right? Together they were created at the same time. And then in Genesis 2 you have the Adam and Eve, the apple, the rib, that whole situation. So this guy took those two and realized that those are two different creation myth narratives that have been plopped together into the Bible, and we've just kind of dealt with it. So what he did was say that instead of it being two different stories of being like, well, how do you reconcile that there's this man and woman created,
Oh,
blah blah blah.
different wife.
So Lilith is wife number one. Now the
Okay.
problem with Lilith is that she was not okay with being submissive to Adam, that she would not have intercourse with him in the submissive position. AKA she wanted to be on top, and every time that they would have sex in a non-submit where she was in a non and active in the non-submission position, they would birth demons. And it was a whole problem, and she was like, that's not like, we were created together, we're equals, I'm not going to bend over for this guy, basically. And so she goes into the middle of the Garden of Eden and she speaks the real true name of God, which we cannot do. You're not supposed to.
Hmm.
And she immediately sprouts wings and turns into this demon character. And she becomes this like the Lilith, which means sort of the night demon is kind of how it translates. So she becomes this night demon, this succubus character who lives in the desert, but she also kills babies. That's why Jewish women have the eyeballs, right? And we put them on our kids and things like that. It's to ward against the Lilith. But she
Oh,
also steals the nocturnal emissions of men. And becomes impregnated and will have like hundreds, like 100 demons per night, and they wreak havoc on the world. Um,
wow.
this story is also probably an amalgamation of earlier Babylonian
Mythologies
myths
and stuff. Yeah.
of it's a Babylonian myth. And so during the time when Jews were in Babylonian exile, they pick up some things, right? Cultural
Yeah.
overlap.
Hmm.
And so over time this kind of becomes this myth, and then it becomes more of a solidified story. Now, the
Mm.
succubus aspect of Lilith then becomes the name becomes used in a lot of different more modern vampire stories because of the
Mm.
succubus aspect of her character.
Got it.
And then much later, during like second and third, I guess it would be third wave feminism in the 1990s, and the rise of like Wiccan and neo pagan traditions, there's a recapture of Lilith as a feminist aspect of this first wife of Adam who refused to be submissive, who is this like the first woman kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That's as
Interesting.
short
Okay.
and quick as I could do it.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I just put in the ether. I thought she was something to do with vampires, and yeah. So, but
Yeah.
that's sick. So anyway, but that I was like, that's like my one sort of qualm with this is that it felt very vampire-y.
Yes.
And then it was, but I don't care because she is technically a side character. Um, but it was surprisingly good, especially since actually the male character in this is kind of flat in the second book. I didn't like love his character, but
Okay.
this made him much more interesting. So honestly, like Kale just started Serpent, and just for
Nice.
fun, and he's like flying through it. I might have him read this book between because I feel like he liked this book. But yeah, okay, so I read that book. It
Okay.
feels like I guess I read that last week, but yeah. And then this book. This is the Misha book. I've been saying her name Mish, and I feel like that actually fits her
I mean,
character. She's more of like a little Mish.
Shalomish. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
but
That's fine.
it is Misha, I think.
Either
I think
way,
we looked it up last time. But
I just
yeah, I just
where are you at?
okay, so I'm in the psyche, and she just had the weird dream sequence. Uh,
I
yeah.
adored that book and am dying for August 5th.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I mean, I'll probably finish, honestly. I could finish like tonight, even though I've got a half a book left.
I
Um, but
love
or tomorrow.
Asar. Asar?
Spoilers, you're telling me that he's
No.
not the enemy.
Oh, come on, really? No, I mean, I love his character, whether or
Yeah.
not he's the enemy. I love plenty of enemies. I love plenty of
No,
villains.
he is interesting. He's
I
like a
yeah.
better Azrael.
Yeah. Ee, that hurt.
Sorry.
That hurts. Yeah. Well, oh. Yeah, he is. He is. No, I do. I like him. I like his. I like characters that are like grumpy and just and like a little standoffish and like not that they need to be like
Mhm.
particular. I mean, of course, they need to be deeper than Tamlin on a number of levels, but no, I like the kind of broody
Hmm. Is your
characters.
husband like that? Are you guys like Black Cat and what is that called?
I don't where he's a golden retriever. Yeah, he's got some okay, so my
Or
husband,
no, I would think you're the golden retriever.
yes.
Yeah, that's like Kale's a Black Cat, and I'm a golden retriever.
Yeah. I
Is he
am
like that?
I Topher's kind of an asshole, yeah.
No, it's not an asshole. It's just like,
He has a weird sense of humor.
hmm,
And not everybody gets it. He does know like when to put on and when not to, right? Like he's not
he's
inappropriate, but like
understands social
he
cues.
does. But I don't know, like when he's at work, he goes by Chris at work.
Hmm.
Um I did not marry Chris. Chris is a fucking asshole. But like when he's in work mode, he's just like, and like he deals in
Okay.
customer service, so he's just like, sorry. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like you
That's
make
so
stupid
funny.
you make stupid choices, you're going to get stupid results. And I'm like, "What?" Which doesn't sound like customer service at all, but automotive industry. Anyways, that's just how I see him. Who knows how he really is at work, but I just see him being like very stern, very
Straightforward, and you're like,
very per my last email kind of guy.
okay, okay.
But he also talks a lot of shit and is like kind of like that guy too. But then he's also very sweet to me and
Hmm.
kind of not like he's not an asshole to people, but like
No,
I
you
don't know.
say
I
that flippantly too, and you don't really mean like
No, but
asshole. But no, yeah,
I think
like sassy and kind of
yeah.
like dark humor.
And like he's one of like he can be extroverted, he can be personable, he can be the life of the party, he can do all those things. Like his social, he
Hmm.
knows how to do social things. But I think that at the end of the day, all he really wants to do is like hang out with me and the kids. And
Hmm.
so
Black Cat's supposed to be
I
antisocial.
yeah, he's like I don't particularly like a whole lot of people. I like you.
Yeah,
And
I'm kind of like that. Yeah,
you made some more yous. And that's who I want to hang out with. Like I don't
yeah.
people I could take them or leave them. And so I think I like characters that are like a little bit where like the rest of the world is kind of like, why would you want to hang out with this guy? And like behind closed doors, he's like a like kind, funny, sweet dude to this one or two people. And the rest of the world, he's like,
No, I'm sure he's
I
nice to other
don't care. I
people.
don't have time for you. I don't care. I'm not and
That's
like doesn't go
funny.
out of his way to be mean, but like, they just
Yeah,
don't know him. So I like the characters that are people who are like,
that's so funny.
that's the guy, and you're like, that's the guy.
I feel like I don't know if I feel like a robot. Like I never think about. I never like. I couldn't tell you what kind of character I like. A
Hmm.
character that makes sense. Like what I don't like is
A
when I hold
character
on to a
that
story because I'm like this is silly,
yeah.
But I feel like I kind of like almost could. go with any character. Like I don't know. Part of me is like I'm very indecisive. Like it asked me like most people joke about like, oh, if I can't decide what to eat for dinner, but like I'm like literally like I will die. I can't. I'm
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
indecisive.
Yeah.
It's painful. And part of me just is like I don't even
Decision
know if I
paralysis.
like things. Like you could pick any restaurant and be like, sure, it's fine. That's
Mhm.
why I don't want to pick because I don't like have preferences. Like if I was by myself and there was no one else to choose for, sure I can pick. But like I just actually
Do
like so
you
many things, and that's how I feel like about book characters.
do you think it's like decision paralysis, or do you think it's like I don't want to make somebody mad with my decision?
I think I grew up. I have two younger brothers, and
Mhm.
there's just always so much fucking ruckus that I think I just
Oh yeah.
like.
You're like, I don't
Why am
just
I gonna care? It's a
yeah,
waste of energy.
that's fair.
I don't have. I'm not a picky eater. I'm not like almost anything can be fun or
Mhm.
taste good. And so I just don't I feel like it's just because I grew up in a chaotic family, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think that I have a particular like I think that I like a bunch of different characters. I think I also like a
Mhm.
wide array of, you know,
But I just like couldn't think of one like you can.
yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't know. Like as you said that and I go, I couldn't think of a single one.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know.
Like I think that's what I liked about Reese at first was like the rest of the world thinks he's a prick, but like Feyre knows that he's sweet. I'm like, yeah, I dig that. I want the rest of the world to think that my husband's an asshole. I like that. They stay away. They, he can whatever. But then I get like a real and like again, not a fucking villain, but like,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
there's been a couple of other books I read where it's like the rest of the world thinks I'm a villain, but I'm a villain for you, right? Some people know what that line's from. No, you don't, because I know you haven't read it. Um, but yeah, and so like, I kind of like the public perception of a character being
Mm,
different than the private reality of a
interesting.
person.
Like a character who's yeah. Maybe it's there's something about like the privacy of
Mhm.
like, oh, they really are connecting with you because they are
Yeah.
their real self. That's interesting, yeah.
And I think that's
Uh,
why I'm so excited to read about Asriel because I feel like that's what we're gonna get. It's where it's like the private or the public perception is what we've
mhm.
gotten, right? This like quiet, no offense, slightly boring, but like also really intriguing kind of shadow daddy moment. And
Yeah,
then I think that what we're actually going to get, you're gonna be like, well, fuck, I thought I liked this character before, but like now it's like breaking my heart. I love him, kind of a thing.
yeah,
Um, but I think it's also because I would imagine that I would like to write a character that's like that, that like what
yeah.
you think you're getting is not what you're getting at all.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, I bought, I forgot. Oh, I forgot about all the books I bought. Okay, I bought Red Rising,
Hmm.
Babel, and I just bought When the Moon Hatched.
Okay. I did not finish Babel for a number of
I
reasons.
know
I was also reading it
people are
right
mixed
before.
on it.
Well, and I was also reading it. Can't remember what I read before it, but I think what I read before it was like heavy romantasy, and Babel is not that. It's fantasy,
Mhm.
but not romantasy. Um,
Which I'm fine with too. That's
yeah.
almost more my wheelhouse than romantasy.
Well, I think
Or it definitely is.
I wasn't ready to not be in that space anymore.
Uh,
And it was like right before we moved up here, and so
so it just got
like,
crazy.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
we're moving 1,400 miles away. It's
Mhm.
meh, it's just not for now. But and at this point, it's been so long that I'm like, what if I'm gonna read it? I got to start from the beginning. Red Rising, I'm interested in
I've
fantasy
just heard
on.
a bunch of stuff about it.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
I read the synopsis. I will not. Well, I read like the Goodreads whatever little blurb about it
Yeah.
because I was like, I need to kind of something. I sometimes I need a
No,
little
I go
trailer.
totally blind, 100%. I
I
could,
know, I know.
and
I
I
need a
like
little
it.
bit, but and we'll
Yeah.
talk about that when we talk about tropes next week. But um,
Yeah.
tropes and trailers and things like that. But
Uh-huh.
um, when the moon hatched,
Is that what I should read after this?
oh, 10 out of 10.
Okay. All right.
Loved Loved the book.
And how is the writing?
Oh, the writing is beautiful. Okay, but
Better
okay,
than
well, so
Carissa
hold on.
Broadbent or worse?
Better.
Okay.
Better.
All right.
Better. But here's the thing. So I read the first Misha book was I was reading Powerless. Then I read
Mm.
Fearless or whatever. I didn't
And
read the
those books
novella.
annoyed you.
And then I read the or no, sorry. Yeah, then I read the Misha book and was like sucked it up because it was, good writing.
Mhm.
And then that was when the third Powerless book came out, which I can't remember what Powerful or
Same thing.
something. Um and so I read that because I was like, well, I already have the other two and I already bought them in fucking hard copies. So I might as well just get the fucking third one and finish it. So I did it. And then I read When the Moon Hatched. So When the Moon Hatched, the writing I think is on par, if not better than Broadbent.
Okay.
But I read it right after
A
reading
words
the
book.
Powerless bullshit.
Yeah. Okay.
So like
I mean, that's just kind of
just
my
know that
current
like
gauge because I'm like, this is
yeah, but
decent.
just know that like I was kind of going through the thick of some bullshit. And then I got that. And so like maybe it's not as good as I thought it was because I was reading something so shitty before.
I'll be the judge of
Uh,
that. I'm just kidding.
yeah, well I'm just like,
Yeah.
ice cream tastes so much better after you've eaten like, I don't know,
Yeah.
kale.
Okay, so maybe I'll read that next and leave my other
Oh, it's
couple
beautiful
books.
though.
Okay.
There is like a 10-page intro of like a like glossary of
Wait, I
terms
never
and all
read
that.
those.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
did because I'm weird. I'm not weird.
Caleb does too, and he laughs like you.
Yeah, yeah. So I did read it and was just like, what? So it came to a point where I was like more like kind of skimming it to get the words, especially with like the glossary as opposed to the characters. I was like, characters will happen, and when I read them, so when characters were coming up, I was like, who the fuck is this? There was something for me to turn back to remind me
Mm.
of who they were, which was great. And then same with some of the terms, but um
I feel like you like
you work it
glossary
out.
is only extra, like, cause, and I like the.
Yeah, the glossary is extra, and she just
It
jumps
should make
into
sense
it.
in context. Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah. It's probably just
it
sort of.
does. There's just a lot. It's a heavy world building,
Mhm.
and you get kind of characters like kind of right away, and so I
But
thought
not
it was
bad world
helpful.
building, right?
No.
Okay. Like, it's not like,
No, it's not Crescent City world building.
sorry to Crescent City people.
Whatever.
Yeah, no,
We
it's one of the
it's
worst, most
it's
notorious
it's
examples
it's
of bad.
not Crescent City world building. It is
Okay.
appropriate world building. It's beautiful.
Okay, I'll try that
Yeah,
next.
it's chef's kiss. I love it. I'm really excited. I'm kind of pissed that it is. I'm both happy and sad that it's a series, and I gotta wait for fucking ever for the next ones to come out. And it's a thick ass book.
It
She a
is
heavy.
thick.
She a thick girl.
Yeah, I was kind of
um,
shocked by it. I've
but
seen it, but I didn't
it
realize how thick it
makes
was.
sense and it works and it's good because sometimes you're like, this book could be 200 fucking pages shorter. That's not how I felt about this book. I was eating up every single second of it.
You're dang, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Loved it.
And okay, so how do we do on writing? You clocked how many words? A lot.
2,600 words
Wow. And
technically, right? So I don't know if we with episode 1 did I had I clocked it then?
we set in episode 1, we set our goal of 2,000 words. So
Got it.
we have not had a check-in since
Okay.
then.
So
So
yeah.
you met
So
it,
I
exceeded it.
met it and exceeded it.
I'll
And
just
I
add your
have
800 to my 800 because I did not
nice.
get even close.
Whatever.
I'm just kidding.
But I did one of my main characters, it's his first POV
Oh yeah.
chapter.
So you're excited.
And yeah, I was just like, just
Finally.
let's just go. I set up a little writing station in my backyard and
Wait,
yeah, just for like an hour and a half cranked out like, 2,600 words and got it done. So the chapter needs to kind of be wrapped up a little bit.
yeah.
Um and I know what the next chapter is. We talked about that in text
Mhm.
message. So I know what the next
Yeah.
chapter is. But yeah, so I did get the word count.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got 800 words. Um but see, I read a lot of dialogue, and if I just, I'll just tell myself that if I had filled out that dialogue, because I write bare dialogue, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
go add in the stuff that you need to like have it be set somewhere later.
yeah.
I just don't worry about it. So probably would have been like maybe 1,500 words or something.
Mhm.
But I just write so much. I feel like when I draft, I just write so much just like bare bones dialogue. I think that's how I get to know characters. Like, because
Yeah.
I don't know who people are. I
Mhm.
Guy walks into a bar, I'm fucking making up bartender named Sim who likes to gamble with his
Yeah.
customers. Like
Nice.
that's part of the scene I just wrote is this like it's like a it's almost like a cop character. He's just a guard. Um and of like a very like that world is very like you like violent, and
Mhm.
he's like part of that sort of infrastructure, and he's like joking with like this new recruit, and the new guy's like, what the fuck, why you guys let that happen? He's like, oh my god. And then he goes and like jokes around with the bartender about how this new kid is like alarmed that they take bribes, and he's like, come on.
Nice.
And they make like a little bet about it. But and then I wrote like a little thing in the other story that I'm working on, but it's all, not
Nice.
much. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it was interesting.
this one was the healing chapter. So
Oh yeah,
there's a healing thing that happens that's kind of like, and it's kind of tense. There's like two groups of people who don't particularly know each other, and it's like
yeah,
little weirdness happening. And then when my main character is waking up, he's trying not to be like too, because he doesn't know where he's at. He doesn't know what's going on, so he's just trying to like kind of listen to his surroundings. He
hmm,
overhears a conversation that's very cryptic, and so it's a little bit of definitely pushing plot forward. Thank fucking god we're finally here, because it's been killing me to not write this chapter. um but also trying to do some foreshadowing, dropping some hints that maybe you
yeah,
don't, some characters aren't who they seem, or that the characters are privy to knowledge that the readers are not privy to, because that's how that goes.
hmm,
And then there's a moment where there's a I guess a reunion sort of
hmm,
moment, right? And it's a little questionable, the level of the relationship between two characters. You're like, are they like, they're clearly close? Is it a lover's close? Is it a familial close? Is it a
hmm,
friend? Is it a brother? Is it a thing? Like, is it just kind of, is it
yeah,
romantic? Is it platonic? What is it? Um, and that's on purpose because of a later conversation that I have in my head where that kind of comes up, and there's some teasing happening, and there's some like, what the fuck? Why would you? Okay. That sort of space. So kind of had to
it's
work a little bit
funny.
into that so that the readers and like the other main character who is in there's POV through her perspective,
Hmm.
that she's seeing this and is kind of like, what's happened? What is this
That's so interesting.
situation? So
Yeah,
yeah, it's one of my longer chapters, and again I need to button it up a little bit,
yeah,
but I think I got it. And
and
there's a moment of washing, right? The character needs to bathe, um and there's some significance in that I'm hoping that the readers get, but I'm not trying to be like too abrasive with it. But um there's a character who has a hard time feeling clean, and you kind of get that
oh,
through his process of,
interesting.
well, he's been abused. So
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, so this like kind of leading into some of
It's
this stuff that's a
intense.
little bit below the surface, trying to kind of write that into the feeling of
Hmm.
washing while also feeling like unable to wash.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know.
That is so,
Hopefully that
yeah.
doesn't give too much away, and whatever. I
No,
mean,
it's like at some level we're just gonna, that's interesting. Like in a writing, we're talking about writing, and we're sometimes we'll just like tell like what happens in our story, but I don't,
mm,
you know, just, yeah, it's interesting to consider not spoiling books that may never get published for readers who may never exist.
yeah.
But it's kind of like one of those things,
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, and who knows? I mean, this is first
they
draft,
will
so
get published. That's why we have this
yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
is so that we
But
can
and
make sure
it's
it
first
happens.
draft. Who knows?
Yeah,
Things
it
will
could totally
change.
change.
Things will
Yeah.
absolutely change.
On some of 'em, I'm like, why I almost am like, I should just say what's up. But then on other levels, I'm like, no, I feel like
Yeah, no, don't say
it's
all
weird.
of it. I'm
Um,
saying enough to where if this got out and like someone was like, I have her book and I'm listening to her podcast and she tells us
that
the
would
whole
be
story,
fun.
like
Yeah.
I don't like, that's great. Like listen to it during the process. I don't want to spoil it so much that like whatever, but
You like, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
yeah. But But yeah, so I just I also write a little bit dialogue heavy apparently
Yeah.
my first time through. I'm still writing story stuff and internal thoughts and movements
I
and
never write that
stuff.
stuff.
I have to. It has to be something in there, but I do realize it's kind of dialogue heavy, but I think that
Yeah.
again, that's how, right? Like how do you get to know people? You talk to them. And so
Yeah.
I'm letting my characters talk to me, which is
Yeah.
the nerdy thing to say, but that's how it feels.
Although, actually, that's a great little transition
Little
because
segue.
why? So I write to get to know my characters, and that's because I don't know them because I'm making them up on the spot.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I am a pantser, and so yeah, I made up this character to like just like we have opposite processes, and obviously some people do a little bit of both, and I kind of do a little bit of both. Like sometimes I'll be just thinking about two characters, and I go, oh, I bet you she's like that. Like her problem is that this happened to her. So I'll think of backstory and I might jot it down. I have like different tabs and stuff. But actually, the scene I was just talking about with the bartender is a great example. Like what I sort of had in my mind was let's put this scene with the kid and the older like lieutenant. I don't know what rank he is. Whatever. He's some kind of higher rank than this new kid happened. And then I'm like, and where does he go after that? He's off duty, probably goes to a bar. It's also midday because he has a weird shift, so
Hmm.
probably nobody's gonna be in that bar. And I kind of just like literally there's something, and I feel like if I were to plan that out and be like, okay, and let's have it like it what he I feel like there's something that happens when I don't plan it and just kind of let it happen. And
Hmm.
but that might not happen. I don't know if this is one book, three books, 10 books. This could be a side novella with just this guy because actually I find myself more and more interested in this character, the like, quasi cop character, like, or it's that archetype,
Yeah.
and so, but it's like this might not even be in the first book. This could be in the fifth book or something, which is
Uh-huh.
crazy because no books exist.
Yeah,
So, but yeah. Whereas you've plotted out your whole series.
almost. So I have plotted out, I know what the big stuff. So I've plotted
Mhm.
out the first book. Like the first book has a full like history timeline. It has an outline for each chapter, which is not going the way I thought it would, but
Mm. But
um
that's okay. That's probably some of
yeah,
your
and it's
appeal.
shorter. So like I was reading through my outline, which I haven't opened up in a while. So I was reading through my outline, and like where I'm at in my story was originally mapped out to like chapter 7 and it's chapter 13. So like there's
Mhm.
more things are happening.
Yeah.
So like it's pretty much like I did like a rough outline of what I expect. I did like the dual perspectives and like who's doing what and kind of like the big stuff. There of course there'll be smaller like chapters in between, or not, of course that's what's happening. um, but yes, so I have like 10 pages of outline. And then for I have it mapped out in my head that it's two trilogy series that live in the same world.
Mm.
Where the second trilogy it follows along a character that you absolutely know very
From
well
yeah, it's a
from
different character.
the first. It's a yeah.
Okay.
So you get to know them in the first one. Um, but then it kind of follows their particular story in the second trilogy. And I have, so for the first trilogy, I have titles for all of my books, and I have the first book completely mapped out, right? At least for like the
Uh,
big things, the things that I know need to happen to get that like sort of 3 act, 4 act, whatever thing
mhm.
happening. Um And for the second book, I know most of like I know the big things. And then for the third book, I know like who's the big baddie,
Mhm.
what's the big kind of thing, how are we getting that thing, and then what's the end point? Because that's the end of the three, right? So like what's
Yeah.
the wrap up of that story? And how am I moving from that point into the second trilogy? I know how I'm doing that. And I have a title for the first book of the second trilogy.
It's so crazy. See, I will not I'll probably like I never title anything. I have my MFA in poetry,
Mhm.
and I was just going to workshops constantly, and I'd bring my poem, and it would just say untitled. Like I was like notorious. I was like known
Yeah,
for it. Like I could
that's
never
hilarious.
decide a
They're like,
title.
Allie has a poem. You're like,
Yeah, and I was
Allie
just
has a
like,
poem.
and I had to write like intentionally untitled because sometimes people title poems, they title them untitled because it's like a thing. And I'm like, nope,
Yeah,
I'm not doing anything like that. It's just does not have a title,
yeah.
and I'm just like it's because oh, especially poems are so hard to title.
The 3 series, there's like or like the first trilogy has like the titles have some continuity between the titles. Like there's
My
a scheme
goodness.
there, there's a thing there. And then same thing. So I know what I absolutely want the first book of the second trilogy. I know what I want that title to be. I'm like stuck on it. There's no I don't there's you cannot convince me that that's not the title. And I have an idea of what the second and third could be, and I have ideas, and it's kind of a running like
Damn.
I write it and put a question mark and put a question mark and put a
Yeah.
question mark. But I need, and I know what I want that first book to be. I kind of have it mapped out a little bit in my head of like kind of the
Mhm.
big things. I just haven't figured out how it's really 3 books yet. I haven't kind of figured, I kind of know who the baddie is, but I don't like, again, but I
Mhm.
think that that's going to take me a minute. Like I need more time with that character in the first trilogy to really like, but I
Mhm.
know enough that there's going to be some hints dropped a little bit here and there within the first trilogy that will make you be like, there'll be some callbacks.
Yeah. That's
And
cool.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
hard to do either. Even if I don't necessarily have that story fully fleshed out, I don't think it's hard to go back into your work
No.
and be like, how
And
do I
sometimes you'll
flesh
have to,
out
no matter what.
some of
Yeah.
this? Or like, how can I extrapolate? Or I take this one conversation and be like, oh, maybe I can say it meant this. Like, I don't think it's impossible to do.
Mhm.
Especially with the way that we read, I don't think it's impossible to do.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. But I have 15 pages of character description, names, family trees, different groupings. I have like what is the political structure in the north versus the political structure in the south? Who was who like
Damn.
yeah, and then I have like there's one of my characters that I was like having kind of a hard time just being like, who is this person? Like this is an important character, but I really don't know who they are yet. And so then I have like 3 pages of just like 20 questions or it was 50 questions, 50 questions
Mhm.
to ask your character. And I literally just like snagged it off of somewhere. I didn't come
Nice.
up with the questions myself. I said, fuck it.
Yeah.
Someone else came
That's
up with the
fine.
questions. But then I sat there and was like, okay, like what does this person do? What do they want? What is their fear? What's their childhood memory? What's their relationship with their parent? What's their favorite color? What's their favorite food? Are they a coffee or tea person? Like all
Mhm.
the things. He's a coffee person. Um but yeah, and so just like as many things as I could possibly think of, and some of them didn't have answers to because it's a modern question. Like what did he major in college? Okay, well they live in a made up world where college isn't a
No
thing. So
colleges.
he
Yeah.
he majored in not getting caught by the king.
Mhm.
Like I don't whatever.
That's a major.
But yeah, so it's
Yeah.
aggressive plotting with lots of room to set it aside and let it kind of exist. So I
Yeah.
also think that in my mind, I'm a bit of a pantser because
Yeah, you have a
I
conversation sitting in your brain. I'm like, "Why aren't you put that
I
on
have
paper?"
no, it has to sit in my brain because it plays out differently.
I would forget it.
I sit up at night. Like this is what I think about before I go to bed. People are like, I think about my
Yeah.
no, I think about these characters and I'm like, okay, so I know that they go to this, I know that they're at this inn, and I know that this is the situation, and I know that this is what they're wearing, and this is what the conversation has to go to. How do you get to that conversation? Why is he offended? Should he be offended? What if I did this thing in her perspective? And so instead of writing all of that out because I'm psychotic and would write it all out, I just mull it. I just let it sit and marinate. And then like
I
one night
see.
I'll be like, how does this play out from his perspective? And I'll like go through it and then I'll fall asleep. And then I'll be like, okay, well, what if she's the one who's doing it? And then I fall asleep. And then I'm like, well, how would it like, all the things.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I have a number. And then if there's something that I'm like, oh, that's a good one, I'll write it down, but
Mhm.
not in a, I won't write it in the document. I have a separate document that I just like little things. So like tidbits.
Yeah.
So like I have a keep notes, which is a weird thing to have on your phone, but I have a keep notes on my phone.
Mhm.
And there's like little scenes from like, oh, the first time that they have dinner together at a tavern, or like, they're at this one place and this person says this thing, and like how do they interact? How do my characters make each other laugh? That's a really important question to me. And the
Mhm.
moments that they make each other laugh, especially when it's unexpected, those are the scenes that I'll like write down real quick when I'm like out somewhere and I'm just like,
Okay.
what would make a character who's like broody and bleh and has a bunch of shit and like is your quintessential like tortured soul of a fucking fairy tale bullshit? Like what do they find funny? Like how would you get through that bullshit?
Yeah.
And so I have scenes like that written in my phone where I'm just like, "Meh, meh, meh." So like, but they're
That's
not fleshed
funny.
out. There's not full dialogue. And it's really more of like conversation of being
Yeah.
like, okay, so I want them here and I want them to do this. And then she says this. And I think, and so it's not an actual typed out scene.
Mhm.
It's more like how I would describe what I'm writing to somebody.
It's like the summary or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. See, I'll get a scene in my head, but then I'm like, I gotta get my laptop. I'm forgetting it as we speak. Please, God, like
Yeah.
literally, I'll be in the shower and I'm like, I'll try to replay the scene in my head because I'm like, I'm forgetting it. I'm already forgetting it. Like
I'm
it's
I think
it
maybe
could
it's like
never.
part of my ADHD though, that like because I replay conversations in my head, right? I try not to
I
anymore,
do
but like that
that.
was it. Yeah, but like I'll be like, oh, I should have said this, or oh, what if I had said
Yeah.
that, or blah, 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 all these things. And so maybe that's part of like now I'm just tapping into it as like a now it's just a gift.
Do we have more about like? I feel like did we talked about our personal like actual trajectories. Oh, I will say, so you do a lot of character stuff. I will say my version of world building, what I do in like a very like it's instead of like writing out a character sketch or like okay, like I know the big event, a
Hmm.
couple big events, like the giant ones that are like the reason the story exists, right?
Yeah.
Um so I obviously know those. But then I have like things that probably will never see the light of day maybe unless I were to publish like I don't know, some kind of encyclopedia with the book or something.
Yeah.
But they're like conversations, like, okay, because I have a piece of like sort of technology that somebody sets up for a future generation, right?
Okay.
So I have a scene with those people and they're
Hmm.
building this and talking about how they're going to execute it and how it's going to be successful. That is like that's like how I world build is I just write a scene.
Yeah.
But it does inform things, but I, kind of didn't really I kind of was like, how would you get a society to do this? And you're like, maybe this had to happen, this had to happen.
Yeah.
But what would that look like? And I can only figure it out by
Yeah.
having some people plan it out in a
Yeah.
scene. So I have those. I have a lot of myths as well, like um probably also I don't know if those will ever be incorporated, but I could see like yeah, like they're like part of the world's
Hmm.
myths
Yeah.
essentially. Those are also my world building things.
I
But
always
yeah.
always like I write a lot. With this particular one, I typically start with characters. I like people, right? That's
Yes, which is
so I
good.
start with characters, and I build out from there, and kind of like, well, what are they doing and whatever else, blah blah blah. But I did have to like just sit down, and again, same thing, right? Like this could be in a glossary of terms, I suppose, but like I did a whole like, well, what's the backstory for this world, right? So
Yeah.
like I have like what's wars and like what are this and when did the split happen and when
Yeah.
is unification happening and blah blah
And
blah.
we've talked, you have a lot of details. Yeah.
And then I also have thought about like, so what's the structures of the two regions, right? Because one is much more like monarchical they're both monarchies, but like I don't know. One
Yeah.
has kind of a court system still. There's some like separation of
Hmm.
spaces, right? Each one is whatever
They're different, yeah.
versus and it's more of a what is the goods that comes out of that region is right. So I have I'm not it's fine. So like I have
Like a
a
merchant class that's very strong.
yes. So I have
Okay.
like a, the court of commerce and coin, right? And so that's
Okay.
where you're going to have more of your merchants. The largest trade port is
And
there.
they hold a lot of
Yeah,
power.
I have like a court of, wisdom and blah blah blah. That's where the citadel is at, right? I have the high court, which is where the
Oh, okay, I
palace is.
see.
So like stuff like that. Where like kind of their main export in that region is what has defined that court versus in the north that is more of an ethno familial. It's like a house name. So like there's like family
These
houses,
people.
or
Okay.
yeah, so there's like, the Veromir or whatever. Like it's like an ethnicity or a lineage. It's a lineage, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That they're descendants from whatever, and that's what the house is called versus a court system, which again, it's kind of the same thing, but still slightly different. They both have kings and queens and yada yadas.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then though, but there's a great schism that happened, right? And so I'm like, well, I gotta think about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, what is the religious and mythological systems, right? So in the north, right, because it's more of a slightly dictatorial monarchical sort of system, they've kind of done away with a lot of the religious structure, the formal religious structures. They just
Mhm.
kind of like, yeah, yeah, like it's a looser base. Whereas in the South, it's much more structured. And so, like, there's five fates. Everyone believes kind of the same thing. So the five fates is like the main thing. And so in the South, they've set up their courts to have five to mirror the five fates. And like,
Oh, okay.
it's kind of this whole like symbolism of the way that they've established this society post schism. Whereas
Mhm.
the North is still trying to lean into these older, like, we are the right because we have this old lineage, and it's more of like a prestige of ethnicity, I guess.
Yeah.
Then and so has a little bit of that. Not gonna lie, I
Feels more
used,
kingly stuff, yeah.
and it has not, I mean, I absolutely used some World War II
Mm.
type things. So there are some like marriage laws, and
Mm.
there are some blood laws, right? Basically, I took like the Nuremberg laws and kind of
Okay.
reread those and sat with those for all the horrific things that those are, but then tried to feel like, how could I take this influence and like map it onto a fantasy society, and
Mhm.
how would this work out? So you have these like, everybody's fae, right? There are mortals, but you have fae. And so it's like you kind of high fae, right? So you have the fae that comes from the lineage of one of these four houses. And then anything that's not from that lineage is considered like a lesser
Mhm.
or sub fae.
Mhm.
And so then I've kind of mapped on like the Nuremberg laws in a sense to be like, the three houses kind of see themselves as the Aryan-ish, right?
Mhm.
They have a superiority, they have a pure blood kind of a thing, whereas lesser fays are seen as anything that was not
That.
pure blood.
Yeah.
Um, and there's large like migrations and refugee situations that happen with those lesser fae into the South because they can find a home there.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's not easy, right? Being a
No, yeah.
refugee is not easy, and it's hard, and travel is difficult, and to get to the South is a difficult, like, it's not easy to do.
Mhm.
And yeah, and that's part of the conversation that I want to write next, right? Because there's a lot of bigotry between the two kingdoms.
Mhm.
And I think I want my characters to sort of challenge each other on that. It's like, well, what do you think about our kingdom? Do you think that you're better than us? And like, part of the conversation is, if people are like, I only know my kingdom, and if people are willing to escape what I know is real to live in your space where it could be as bad as you're saying, then it's still like, you know what I mean? It's like they're willing to brave the possibility of your kingdom being absolute shit, because that's still a better option than what we're offering them.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I need
Yeah.
but I need to have it in, like, a way that's not very exposition-y and whatever else, and, like,
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
I think just, having like a decent understanding of like what those things do to people,
Yeah,
you'll have it, because
yeah.
we have lots of examples throughout
But, yeah,
history.
that's the
Yeah.
yeah, that's where that's my
That's
vibes
interesting.
and my current problems with writing.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I need to just write. I just need to write more. I
Yeah,
kind of don't. Yeah, I don't. The problem with like never having like an order is that then I don't know what to write next.
Yeah.
I also wrote this scene with this his name is Liren, which I don't know how I feel
That's
about
a
that,
cute
but I think I
I
kind of
like
like
that name.
it. And I
I
like
like
that it
it.
doesn't sound like anything. Like
Yeah.
and I think I've googled it and it doesn't really whatever. But I wrote his like sort of exposition-y scene and I
Mhm.
don't love it. I'm going to have Kale read it for sure and be like, cuz I think it's too like much at once. Like it's like
Mhm.
sometimes people talk like this, but maybe they don't. I also have to like guard against the fact that I am somebody who talks. I psychoanalyze myself and I talk like weird. Like I probably say things that normal people wouldn't say. Like I'd be like, "Oh yeah," and I over explain things. I can't have every
Mhm.
character over explaining everything.
Yeah.
The way that's sort of my natural instinct is like, oh, I would say this, and this happened. But I'm like, no, no, no. A character like this isn't just gonna like, and let me tell you about this. Like maybe some characters would, but yeah. Anyway, so I think I have a problem with like, yeah, balancing that character and not making him
Mhm.
just a copy of myself.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but and
I
also
have a
his thing the scene I just wrote is this big scene where he's like telling the tragic thing that happened to
got
him.
it.
So I'm like,
Mhm.
it's a huge important scene. So I'm sure I'll
Yeah.
rewrite it. Maybe I won't even touch it until the second draft or
Yeah.
something. But
I have a hard time not writing the same character over and over again in different skins.
yeah, it's
And
hard.
they're not necessarily me, but I'm like, "Oh, right,
They're
like
like,
everyone in this family is kind of similar and like I need to kind of differentiate a little bit." But like
mm,
it is what it is because I'm still getting used to them, right? It's 22,000 words in and like yeah, I'm
yeah.
still kind of getting used to who these are and whatever. And I'll fix it when I make notes of it where I'm like, "Nah, there's
I know.
this
I leave
needs
a lot of
they
comments like, fix this to make it not dumb as fuck. Like,
yeah."
always leaving notes like that.
But I also am really open to feedback. I'm not open to feedback yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh, sure. When you, yeah, once you,
but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like again, I've said this before, but like thesis writing and editing academic articles, I know it's completely different,
Hmm.
but the editing process for my thesis was so fucking intense and it was like every sentence had a fucking comment, right? Because like it has to be perfect, it has
Mm.
to be polished, whatever. It wasn't overly rude or critical or whatever. They were doing their
It's
jobs, and I
matter of
love them
fact.
for
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I love them for it. I'm not trying to bitch about the process, but it was intense, and
Yeah.
so I feel like that kind of. And there was high stakes for it, right? Like I'm in a master's program. I'm trying to fucking
Gotta get it
graduate.
right. Yeah.
um, yeah, and it needs to be at a certain level. It has to be at a certain level of polished and professionalism. And so I think that going through that process, having someone beta read a novel, right? There's some nervousness to it, but like I'm not as attached to like yeah, I'm not gonna, and like I can say,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna do that. I don't
Yeah.
have to take the feedback, but I
No.
also need to listen to when someone says, "That didn't work for me." That's when I need to listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like
Um.
that's one of the most important things is that if your reader says, "Yeah, I don't know if
Mhm.
that worked for me." Great, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because
Um.
yeah, it works for me. I had the whole fucking backstory in my head. But if it doesn't work for the reader, that's who you're writing for.
Yeah. And yeah. And yeah, that's it's honestly that probably it could still be so long away, but yeah. Yeah, that's the thick skin is really good to have just in any kind of writing.
Yeah.
It's a yeah, I mean, as in poems especially are often very like intense. So I feel like I have also a pretty thick skin because I'm like, yeah, I'm talking about like my grandmother's funeral, and we're just sitting here talking about like, is this image like it's like
Yeah.
very intense things. So I feel like I also plus I've also just been in so many classes,
Yeah.
and honestly, you know, I would take a bunch of classes because it was the only thing that kept me writing. Because like, I mean, now I think I have more discipline, but, like, I just, like, would never write, and even if now I only wrote because I was like, "I got an episode, gotta get something
Yeah.
done."
I mean, it's helpful though to have kind of a
Yeah, and that's kinda
motivator.
why part of why I wanted to start this is first of all, we were talking so much writing shop that I was like, "This has gotta be this
Yeah.
is like," I mean, if we have so much to talk about, surely somebody else would benefit from just hearing other people lament the way we were, because we would talk for so long about it too. But then also like, I was also gonna say maybe what we should do is set two goals,
Okay.
a certain amount of days to write on. So like
Okay.
5 words counts it for the day. Maybe like
Okay.
five out of 7 days till we record
Mhm.
next time. And then the 2,000 word in addition, because I
Okay.
otherwise I'll procrastinate and I'll just
Yeah.
write
Okay.
800 words on a single day and then not get anywhere close to 2,000. Um, so yeah, you want to do something
Yeah.
like that? How many words? How
Sure.
maybe just yeah, any amount of words. What, like 5 days a week,
Any amount of words 5 days a week.
and then
Total
ultimately
2,000 a week.
2,000 for the week. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's kind of the benefit of this is like that writing group. It's like instead of a class, I
Oh,
do
you're
still have somebody who's gonna be like, you didn't write shit, bitch, and beat me up mentally.
yeah. Do you
Um,
want to still do the poem?
it's very short.
Yeah, let's
I'll
hear it.
send here. I'll send it to you, but I'll read it. But I feel like you need to. I feel like
Okay.
people need to read and listen to poems at the same time. So
Yeah, sure. Let me
there's the link,
I can find the
and
thing.
yeah, it's
Oh,
a
right. The
different
link is here.
poem. Okay, yeah. So this is called "The Pope's Penis," and it's a classic poem that I always tell people to read if
You did
they.
not write this.
I did not. No, 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 no. Because everyone who goes, "Oh, I've only read classic poems," I go, "I got a not classic poem for you."
Is
Um,
this just it's just this like 7 or 8 lines, that's it?
yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so "The Pope's Penis" by Sharon Olds. It hangs deep in his robes, a delicate clapper at the end of a bell. It moves when he moves, a ghostly fish in a halo of silver seaweed, the hair swaying in the dark and the heat. And at night, while his eyes sleep, it stands up in praise of God. A great poem. Honestly, great images, very visceral, very effective imagery.
Yes, and kind of critical
Definitely. I think that's the intent of
of
this
the
episode.
vow of
Mhm.
chastity. I love this where it's
Or
like,
even saying that like, "Oh,
you
you're
know,
praising God, are you?" Or like or even like,
uh-huh.
he's asleep, so it's almost like saying the body wants to rebel against God naturally. There's so many
Mhm.
interesting interpretations you could take from that. Or even that's what God wants is praise. That kind of
Well,
thing, yep.
that there's something inherently inhuman, I guess,
Mhm.
about chastity, right? Because there's
Yeah.
something so very basic human about sexuality,
Yeah.
and not engaging in that, and like, yeah, that it still happen, it stands up at night. This is beautiful. I'm gonna like let this sit with me for a week, and then we'll come back and I'll be like, oh my god, this was
Yeah.
amazing.
The
um
next poem I read, I already have an idea about what poem I want to read. Sharon Olds is one of my favorite poets, and I've read a lot of her books, and a lot of like one-off poems. But it won't always be like a
mhm.
funny poem like that. Although it's not just funny. It's really just like kind of
I mean, it's
crazy,
only funny
not even
because
funny.
penises are funny, but
Yeah.
it's not a comedic poem. Yeah,
But
I like this.
I'm gonna have something different every single week because I have so many that I could just throw out there. It's gonna be a great
Nice.
time. And
Nice. I don't know what I'll
yeah,
throw out for you, but I'll be here
that's
every
okay.
week.
I mean, yeah, you don't have to like, you're the one who's done a lot more reading than I have, and you have a lot more historical knowledge. This is my knowledge. So
Nice.
cool
Yeah, please
poems,
let me
but
in. That
yeah,
sounds amazing.
yeah.
Okay, so next episode we are going to talk about we'll do another reading and writing check-in.
Okay.
Um, and we will talk about enemies to lovers trope.
Yes, I'm excited
So
about
that's
that
what
one.
we're doing. So yeah, okay. This has been lovely, and
Yeah,
I'll see you next week. Until then, keep reading.
keep reading.